Hello, Awifians. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to you all, wherever you may be in the world. I hope you're well. I hope you're having a great Sunday. I normally don't come on live on Sunday, but today is a special day and we have a special guest. So we'll give her a few minutes to connect online. You know how connectivity is in Africa. So please, let's give her a few minutes. Come join me. Share this live stream with your family and friends, and please comment. What would you like to discuss about? What would you like to see or hear as discussion on this platform during this COVID-19? We'd like to know more about the situation in your countries. So, how is it going in Kenya, Nigeria, Cameroon, Rwanda, Ivory Coast, Togo, Ghana, Senegal, Malawi? Just let us know. And please, you have a business, you want to pivot, you want to go online, this is the place to be. My name is Lilian Mole, and I am the founder and CEO of the African Women's Economic and Entrepreneurship Forum, the place where we challenge status quo for economic advancement of African women. African women worldwide, not only in Africa. Okay? So please come join me. Grab a cup of coffee, tea, or wine, whatever is appropriate for you, and give me 1 hour of your time. I hope this communication goes well. I hope network goes on well, so we can really benefit from the knowledge that Ruth has to share with us. Yeah, so we're back as we wait for Ruth. I would really love to know how the situation is in your country. I would really love to know how the lockdown is affecting your business, how it's affecting the way your client respond to your product and services. Here in Europe, especially in Switzerland, things are beginning to get back to, I will not say normal. It's not normal. Only a certain number of people can be in a shop. Last week, I went for my massage therapy, and I was speaking with my massagist, and she said, we think that the government is going to help us out, but we have to pay it back within 5 years. And I said, so how did you survive? She said, well, there's a part of it, which is like partial chômage. And that's what she's using. And she said, I will wait and see how things go before I can get the help from the government, because I don't want to put myself in a debt which I have to reimburse in 5 years. Things are already difficult enough. I don't want to add more onto what I already have as load. So let's be extremely careful, especially for those in Africa. When you see on TV, when you hear that Europe or the developed America or the developed world is helping its citizens, businesses to stand on their feet, giving them, helping them financially. Please be careful with that. Note that it is a loan and it has to be reimbursed. It is a loan that you have to give back within a certain period. It's not free of charge. So don't compare apples and pears. Look in your country, what's available for you. Ask yourself if you really want to go down that road, because it's not meant for everybody. And you don't want to put more load on yourself. Sometimes it's better to go without it. So as we take the time on this platform to talk about the impact of COVID-19 on African businesses, as we talk about visibility and so on and so forth, try to educate yourself how you can pivot. And let's be honest, not all businesses are pivotable. So come here, join us, join the conversation, share with us your difficulties. Share with us some of your aha moments. And also, do not forget that not everybody is suffering from the situation. More people are selling, more people are gaining more clients, more people are expanding their business beyond borders. So it's not such a bad thing as we may think of it. So let's see if Ruth is with us as we gradually start. I see she's not yet in the waiting room, so we just have to wait. We have to wait and see what happens, but there is a limit to the time we can wait as well. So, yeah, as I was saying, be careful with the information you see out there. Try to think out of the box, because the fact that you have been helped by the government doesn't mean you will survive. Sometimes maybe this is the best time to just cut the crap. For example, I'll be honest with you. I've always tried to be honest with you. I'm just asking myself if having this big office is necessary. When we got this office, we are sharing our two nonprofit, which one is a Sister in the World, which helps girls to help educate girls from developing and emerging countries, and AWIF. Those two are two sister companies, nonprofit companies in one office with this big office space. As we go along, or as we went along, we decided not to have too many overheads. That was a good decision, and now it's paying off. We just outsourced what we needed, and that's it. And we try to limit the number of overheads that we can have. But we still have this big office, and it has a certain cost. In Switzerland, everything is very expensive. And we're just thinking, is it really worth it to have this big office when we know that the initial idea was to be able to interview people, C+. We wanted to do like a talk show, so we needed this space. And luckily, we got one from a corporation. And now we're asking, with COVID-19, people are not traveling. There is this social distancing that you have to practice. So is it worth it to have this space when we are already visible online? We're still doing it online like we normally do. Is it really worth it to have this space, or is it better to downsize and then have cash flow for the next 18 months? Listen to that. Cash flow for the next 18 months. Because we do not know how this situation will end. We do not know in which direction it will go. We have to be very, very watchful on our cash flow. So the question now is, do we keep this big office? Do we go ahead and just do business as usual? Because with time, we'll get back to the idea of interviewing people, social distancing. But what if it takes 18 months? You must have put 18 months of revenue, of your cash flow in a rent, and you're not serving its purpose. So let's really, really think of it. I see that Ruth is coming on, but for the moment, we have a comment which I would like to take. Yay! Happy Mother's Day, Joy. How are you? Thank you so much. This is an amazing sister from Germany. She's the founder of African Women in Europe. So if you have not yet liked her page, go right there and like her page. Thank you so much. Happy Mother's Day. We have Ruth online. This is amazing. Duwala in the house.
Hello. How are you? Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great to see you. I'm very proud of you. Before I go into the discussion, I want to declare how proud of you I am. You are taking businesses in Cameroon to a completely different level. And that's why I've been watching for a while. And I said, there must be a time when you must come up. How do you do what you do?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Lillian. Thank you. I can't start without also congratulating you for all what you're doing. Your consistency, your zeal, and everything is contagious. And I've also been looking up to you, and I'm also very proud of you. You're one of the people who inspire me. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I take the time to apologize to all the Cameroonians who will be watching today, because I think there is a mistake with the understanding
Yeah.
of the time zone, because 10 a.m. Central Eastern Summertime is 9 a.m. West African time.
West
So,
African time. Yeah.
yeah, so I hope that this time change will not, play against us. I hope that this message will really, really hit home. I was born
Yeah.
in Cameroon. I was raised in Cameroon until the age of 21 when I left Cameroon. But before that, I had already gone to Nigeria for my university studies. So Cameroon is my home. The fact that I do not live in Cameroon in the moment doesn't mean that I know nothing about Cameroon. I go there. Okay, I've not been there for the past few years. I have families there. I follow Cameroon closely. And sometimes it's a joy to be born in such a rich country. We have, the world ignores what that country has. We have
Exactly.
natural resources. We have, the mind, the courage, the enthusiasm in that country is amazing. However,
Yes.
however, sometimes it's a pity to see such a country with such wealth and such knowledge not figure in the positive sense. So today we're going to be talking about business visibility. And my heart
Yeah.
goes out to all the Cameroonians doing business in Cameroon, because it's a tough place to do business in. I know that. I
It
have been
is.
there. I in my very young age, went all the way to New York, come back to Cameroon to have my own satellite internet connection company in Cameroon. I know the struggles that an entrepreneur can have in that country. I know what corruption plays in that country. I know how backbiting can play in that
Yeah.
country. I know how
Yeah.
hypocrisy is in that country. I know how jealousy is in that country, because of the level of, we put ourselves poor, meanwhile we are not poor. So all of this, before we even started, all of this, I am aware of. I am aware of it. I still feel it from a distance. I still get it from a distance. But my love for that country still stands. So
Yeah.
any Cameroonian watching this live stream as an entrepreneur, come up here. I will support you 100% on the basis that you're willing to work on your mindset. And Ruth has taken the lead. I had other two Cameroonians on live stream. They are doing amazing jobs. Very proud of them. Momo Betan is now in the UN. Very
Okay.
proud of them. So now you are the first female entrepreneur from Cameroon, Ruth.
Wow.
Please introduce yourself to
Was
this.
an honor. Thank you so much once more, Lillian. I am Ruth Tembe. I am a Cameroonian entrepreneur who started her entrepreneurial journey in Ghana after studying in like pursuing media studies in Ghana, working for internship in Ghanaian organizations. And then the reason why I moved to Ghana, first of all, was to, I had this dream of always wanting to project a positive African image to the whole world. And so to materialize this dream, it had to be through the media. So I wanted to start a media company, which I started after doing my studies and internship there. I started the African Vision Communications, which is Avicom Group, that does in publishing, marketing, advertising, and business development. We started with Queen's Magazine, a publication that was geared towards a female audience of extraordinary women who are doing extraordinary things in Africa. That's how we started, because we wanted to, in all our endeavors, we want to project a very positive image about Africa. That's the raison d'etre of Avicom Group. And so the company has really grown to from publishing to marketing, advertising. Now we are into business development since our goal has grown to one that has to do with encouraging and promoting entrepreneurship in Africa, because I believe that young people really are the future, of Africa, of Cameroon. This Cameroon that we so much love, but there are always buts. I think that it's the young people or it's the youth that are going to change a lot, and entrepreneurship is one of those stones, I'll call it pillars, that is going to help in the change or in the transformation of this country.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, that's it.
Yeah. The beauty about you and your work is that you see the value. And I studied journalism in Africa, worked in the radio station, Radio Sound Sync in Douala. I know the complication of being a woman in that domain. But you see the value and you take it to a different level. You bring that skill in, of the skill of journalism, and you're trying to combine both with business. That is a big one to swallow for a woman in Africa. So you seeing the value helps you, but this might not be for everybody. So as I was going through the quotes, through the questions, I wanted a quote for the day. And today I have this quote to share with you all. Visibility doesn't automatically translate into value.
Yes.
Don't just be everywhere. Be where you are most needed. Does this quote resonate with you?
Of course, and it is from Bernard Calvin Clive, one of one of an inspiration in Ghana,
Yeah.
which is the quote is so on point, because I have learned, the journey has been such an interesting one. I would like to say that next year I'm so excited about this. It's gonna be 10 years since I started, my company, and it's been an interesting ride, but it's been like a school, because
Yeah.
I've learned a lot as I have been growing. And one of those lessons is just from this quote, which is, you just don't need to be everywhere doing everything for everyone. No, it doesn't work. It's waste of energy, it's waste of resources, it's waste of everything. That's why at Avicom Group, our niche is really women. We focus on women, on serving women, we focus on the youth. Because to us, that's like the pillar of society. Once women and young people are given the right resources, what they can do in terms of transformation, in terms of contributing to change, that is part of Abicom's core values, creating change for better economies, for better for better Africa. I think if we want to really create that change, let us focus on young people and women,
Yeah.
because we have seen how women in leadership, we've seen the results of women being in leadership. Not just that, not because I'm a woman,
Yeah.
but it's proven that when women are given, leadership in certain domains, they excel. So that's why we have our focus there. We're not just serving the whole of, you know, I would say the whole of the world, but
Yeah.
then we are focused on that. It is very true that visibility, you need to have a niche. Whatever you're doing, you must have a niche that you focus on.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. The problem is we, especially as African women, but I can also speak for other culture because I've traveled a lot and lived with so many different people from different continents. We women, as we African women, we were raised to do it all, to do all by ourselves, And that's the way you kind of stand out, or you're being loved, or you're being appreciated, because you are the wife, you are the mother, you are the auntie, the cousin, the sister, the mother, but the mother, and the man, and the list goes on and on. And you're trying to run this business, you're trying to have your life, you're still trying to maintain this husband, you're still trying to keep an eye that he's faith. All this load, that's what
Yeah.
comes with an African woman. And it's not
Yeah.
saving anybody. You've got to pick, you've got to really pick your battles. And this is what there's a series that we're going to have here on Awif. It's called Queens Raising Princesses. This is what we
Wow.
need to educate our girls. You don't have to do it all. You don't have to. Those who love you will love you. Those who really love you will love you. But in Africa, you're loved because you have money, because you're my child, because there's always this because, and there's this because, there's this because. And that becomes a burden. You cannot be the better version of yourself because you have all these expectations that you have to fulfill. And it's time we, as the queen of that continent, we start raising princesses to let them know, choose what works best for you.
Yeah.
Don't be anywhere, everywhere.
I think it's all about educating, really educating women, really educating African women. For example, like the platform that you have, like the Leading and Enterprising Women in Africa that I started, lower organization. It is just, the goal is just to educate African women. Find your purpose
Yeah,
and serve that. You don't need to please people, because most of the times women, we want to please people because we have always had the responsibility of being the ones that will do better. When you don't do better in various domains, you're to blame. But then we need to start educating women, especially African women, that look, there is something called purpose in life. You can't do everything. Once you've found your purpose, you focus on that, and you make sure that you follow that particular mission to accomplish it. Whatever you can do, fine, you do it. If you find yourself not being able to do or to accomplish, whatever is beyond you, it's not a must. Right today, the well-being, our well-being as women is very, very, very important. We know a lot of cases of women who did so much, who had so much burden, and the outcome was not, it wasn't positive. And so we need to focus a lot on our well-being. We need it's that, and focusing on that means we can't please everybody at all the times, or we can't do everything all the time. So we need to really know what our purpose is, and then just follow through with that.
yeah, yeah. This is a huge one. It's a big shift in mindset and culture, because the
Yeah.
culture doesn't permit that. And as you rightly said, find your purpose and follow your purpose. But this is also a big hammer, because what does purpose mean? For many women in Africa, as you grow up, you're expected to get married, leave your family, go get married, have your own family. That becomes an automatic purpose that the
Yeah.
culture imposes. We as
Yes.
women as well, we want to have our own children. We want to have, that becomes another purpose on its own. So when you have already your own purpose that you impose on yourself, and the ones that's imposed by your culture, in your definition, when you say purpose, what do you mean?
What I mean is, every person. I won't even talk about women exclusively. Everyone has that passion,
Yes.
because that's what makes you live. It's passion that makes you live. If you're not living out of passion, if whatever you're not doing out of passion, I would say without any doubt that you're living a life that is full of constraint. And at a certain point, you can crash easily. But when you're living your passion, what is your passion? Whatever that wakes you up in the morning, whatever you're excited when you're doing it, oh, you're where you are, doing what you so much love to do, and you have all these creative ideas that keep coming, that surrounds that thing that you're so passionate about. That's where your purpose starts from.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of women have causes they want to fight for. For example,
Yeah.
they have burdens that they want to, you know, things that they want to bring out or clarify or voice out, but
Yeah.
then they are choked.
Yeah.
They are choked because of maybe societal norms, maybe what people will say and all that. The moment you start voicing out or you start letting your voice be heard in a particular domain that really, really pricks you, that's the moment you start living a life of happiness, I'll say.
Yeah.
That's when you start living happy because you're actually living your why. That is why you're here, why you're born, why you're on earth. Because you need to fight maybe for kids who are orphans, maybe because you need to fight for other women, because you've seen that some women are ripped of their rights. You want to fight for them. The moment you start voicing out whatever you have as a burden, then you start living your life. But then so many are choked because they have been swayed to live in a particular way. They are in boxes.
Yeah.
I mean, we say so,
Yeah.
and they find themselves really constrained. You find yourself even sometimes some women in a marriage because not because you love that person, but just because of society, you're forced to be in that place and you're not happy, and then it even provokes so many malaise and all that. All what I'm saying is that, you know, women have the right to live happy lives. They
Yes.
have the right to, you know, to well-being. That's the first thing. You have a right to well-being. And so how do you get your well-being? You won't do things that make you ruminate all the time. You will do things that make you live passionately. And
Mm.
whatever makes you live passionately is your purpose.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's simply what the purpose is. What keeps you up at night, as
Yeah,
Oprah Winfrey once said. You know, you're when to find your purpose is that little voice inside of you. It gets louder and louder and louder, and it's something that you really
precisely.
you do with joy. You do not. It's not like a job. It's just something which is natural and it makes you happy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So before we dive into the questions, I would like to share with the audience what Avicom Group is all about. So let me share my screen. Bear with me, please. Okay, let's see here. Okay, there we go. Chrome. Oh, this is this one. Okay, so there we go. Okay, there we go. So you are taking African businesses to another level, risky, as we said already. Now, coming back to the context of Cameroon
Yeah.
and moving from Cameroon to Nigeria to Ghana and back to Ghana.
Yeah.
All we see about Cameroon is on TV is all political instability. Somebody's got to take the lead to change these images that we see on TV. Now, who should? Politicians or entrepreneurs? And why?
Wow, that's a great question. That's a really great question, and I would say that the reason why, you know, um, an image is mostly seen about, I would say, for example, about the images that you're talking about that are seen um, um, in all medias around the world concerning Cameroon, is just because of leadership. You know, when the leadership of an organization, an entity, whatever is happening in the country, it's on them. It's on them if the images that are projected from this part of the world are negative or positive. It depends on them. So if the images, are negative, then there should be something wrong with leadership in this country. And I hope that things are getting better. I hope that things are getting better in Cameroon. But then I would say that who are going to change this? I think both parties have responsibility. You know, entrepreneurs like politicians have responsibility to give a better image to this country. Entrepreneurs and politicians as well. Politicians have their part to play. They are the ones that pilot the nation in terms of policy making, in terms of whatever has to do with growth and development in the country. They are the ones, they are the forefronts, they are the ones piloting all these initiatives. So they have that responsibility. And then entrepreneurs, why do I say both parties have this responsibility? Entrepreneurs themselves, because they are part of the economic engine of the country. And if a country has to develop, if a country has to grow, then the economy has to be somehow stable, somehow profitable, somehow how do I say, results oriented, because the economy pushes a lot of agenda, pushes the agenda, the growth agenda forward as well, in terms of national growth agenda and in terms of international recognition and international prowess. So I would say that both politicians and entrepreneurs need to play their roles in this country to make it a better place, to make it resonate out there like we were in some a century ahead. Because truth be told, if you have traveled or if you visited other African nations, and then when you come back to our beloved country, it's always jaw dropping. The conversation is always difficult to have because you see a difference. Now, a lot of people, we keep saying that growth takes time, but then, there's so much to be done. Compared to other countries, we all had independence around the same years. And then some countries have had more, crises than we have had. But then the growth process in those other regions are way advanced, it's way better. And you want to ask yourself, what is happening? Why the stagnation? Why not even the stagnation? Why do we keep going behind? Do we keep going back? And then we would want to point our hands to leadership of this country, because even if entrepreneurs have to work on or play their part, they must be supported by the hierarchy, because a lot of policies that are put in place, or a lot of projects that are being carried out, they are being carried out promoting entrepreneurship, yes, but then is it complete? Do we just talk so much in this place that we act? Those are the questions that we need to ask. We need to ask really, really important questions, and then we need to provide answers practically.
You've said it all. Both have to play their role. However, when one of them is suppressing the other, it's not going to work. If you go to, let's take 5 African countries and just investigate the number of Cameroonians. Let's take for Congo, Nigeria, Ivory Coast, Rwanda. The number of Cameroonians, the number of business people who are Cameroonians are a lot.
Yes.
So now you question, we are already suffering from brain drainage, when people go abroad and never come back. Example, sitting right here in front of you. Then you start having the business people investing out of Cameroon. Then you've got to say there was some kind of suppression. We all know the story. We're not going to talk about that. It's not a political platform.
Yeah.
But the impact of this is that the people are younger and younger and younger. And when this young generation move to Equatorial Guinea, to Ivory Coast, to Ghana, to Rwanda to set up businesses, this is such a waste and a damage to that country. In those days, when we were growing up, we had family kids. They had the financial control, and they still do because they do business. They are the pioneers of businesses in Cameroon. But how do we turn this around to encourage with this situation? How do we turn this around to encourage the young people, even if they're out of Cameroon, to find some kind of way of reinvesting back in Cameroon? How can we do this?
Lilian, I would say that one thing I learned from coming back to, do business in this country after experiencing doing business in West Africa, that's Benin, Togo, Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, and then coming back to Cameroon. I noticed one thing I learned one thing I learned is if you're not resilient, you can't make it. This country has its own realities,
Yeah, yeah,
and you have to integrate into a system of and a way of doing things. Even though we are fighting, for things to be done normally, but then before you get to want to stand and dictate a particular way of doing things, you must have learned the status quo. You must have known how it is done already. And I think resilience is one of the factors that you need an entrepreneur or a business person needs in Cameroon to survive. Because if you come with a normal way of doing things, the way we do business out there, you're going to get hit very, very hard. Because I've been hit, and I know what I'm talking about. You're going to be hit very hard. So the place, the business landscape in Cameroon is very particular,
yeah,
and so we need to, in terms of cultural diversity, in terms of uh, performance, in terms of the needs of customer needs and all of that, it's very, very particular. Very
yeah.
particular. Cameroonians have their own things that they like and that they want, and you must just study the environment before you start doing business here.
Yeah, yeah. The scope of business in Cameroon is very narrow. In Cameroon, you should be talking about food, alcohol.
The basic needs.
Exactly. It's like we have not yet come out of that,
Basic needs.
exact of day by day. If you go out with a different idea, you will fail. Internet connection, that's 20 years ago, and I flunked. You bribe here, you bribe there, you bribe, and nothing is coming out of what, you know. So there is a great there's an issue of mindset, how we are thinking
Yeah,
about
there's so much. That's one thing that we do. That's the way we operate in with Avicom Group, the way we operate in Ghana, and the way we operate in Cameroon is two different. We have two different business models,
yeah,
because in Ghana we go straight to our clients, we give them what they need. But in Cameroon, the work we have double work to do.
yeah,
You first of all educate the people, educate you first of all educate your masses and tell them that, look, this is where the world is at this point in time, and so we need to get there. Then we need to start doing things the way we're supposed to do in order to be modern, in order to be at par with global trends. You need to educate your audience first before doing business with them. If not, like you're saying, there's a lot of work to be done with mindset shift, a lot. And then that's why with Avicom Group we hold these workshops, conferences, networking, events, all this with one goal. Let the people know that, hey, there's something bigger than the basic necessities that we're always craving for in this part of the world. And please, let's open our eyes. Let's embrace, what's happening all over the world, and then let's make a shift in terms of growth, personal growth, in terms of economical growth, in terms of, it's double work what we are
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm going back to the very beginning of our conversation when I say I saw you see the value and why I chose this quote. When I choose quotes or
Yes.
questions, I try to think of what I'm saying in that context. In Cameroon, if you approach somebody and say this, their direct question is, how does this give me money? No, that's what makes the difference between you, and that's why this quote is here today. They do not see the value of it. They do not see how this can impact zillions of people. The direct question is, dang, how does this give me money? Because they are thinking of the sense of money now to satisfy the immediate needs. How?
Yeah, you would say this happens because we know that in Cameroon, 70% of the population are in the poor class. They're still fighting for food. So you can see, whenever, for example, during campaigns or so, whatever is used to calm people down is food and drinks. That's the level. That's the level we're talking about. So once we do not solve this issue of, basic of people here just being mindful of the basic things that they need, like clothing, food, and, just whatever surrounds their immediate, environment, then it's going to be difficult, Lillian, because um, they haven't leadership hasn't provided a way for Cameroonians to come out of this traditional way of life.
Yep, yep, yep. There are not
There's a
many
lot.
opportunities.
There's a lot to be done, and then um, leadership doesn't provide resources, not only financial, but they don't provide. We don't have platforms in this place where we can grow. Actually, our educational system still has to be revamped. There's a lot that we need to learn, apart from the fact that you learn a history of the past. There's a lot that has to be learned, a lot that is going on. There are a lot of global trends that a lot majority of Cameroonians are not even aware of right now. Let me jump into the crux of the matter. While we're here right now, we're in a crisis situation, and you would be surprised, you'd be shocked to know the number of digital entrepreneurs that exist in Cameroon. Basically none, because like I had a talk with some real digital entrepreneurs who are maybe not even in Cameroon, but who have businesses in Cameroon, and they were complaining. They were like, Cameroonians, we are still really, really at the basic level, because most Cameroonian entrepreneurs, when it comes to getting into this digital environment, they think that Facebook, WhatsApp, that's it.
We will come to that. We will come to that. We are coming to
And
that.
so there's so much work to do, so much work to do. So, yeah.
So, as an entrepreneur in Cameroon, what have you created so far to share with the world? Yes, you're
Uh,
open.
in,
I know them. I know
in
them.
Cameroon, in Cameroon, what we're trying to do in Cameroon, we got here 2 3 years. Yeah, it's been 2 years since we are doing activities. We're operating in Cameroon, And trust me, in Cameroon, when you get here 2 years, it's not enough for you to start, kicking off things and thinking that you're even doing something. You must first get acclimatized to whatever is happening around you.
Vaccinated, you mean?
Um, Pardon?
You need to get vaccinated for what's happening around you.
The bad news is that, which I don't know whether it's bad and good at the same time, is that this year we're going to have so many projects that had to really, really, really create,
Yeah.
or really, project Cameroon out there, because we had major projects for, for companies, which was like, we had to start something called, most valuable brands in Africa, that had to be hosted in Cameroon, where we really study Cameroonian and African businesses, and encourage them or incite them to practice, or to operate on very, very, I would say, high standards. Let me say it that way,
Yeah.
because, and to become competitive with not only the companies here, but then, when you're compared to a company like, maybe Mr. Price, if
Yeah.
you're maybe a company like, oh, Bellavi, which is a supermarket here in Cameroon, and you compare the same supermarket to Mr. Price, maybe, which is a South African, supermarket as well, but has chains in
Yes.
all of Africa, Ghana, and Kenya, and all of that.
But
Then you start
there's
thinking,
MTN. There's MTN as well, which has is everywhere. South
exactly.
African, but it's. Yeah.
So when you get compared to those kind of companies, then you start thinking that, look, whatever you're doing, you need to upgrade, or you need to step up your game. So that's one of the objectives that we had. And, but in Ghana, we had, so many platforms that we curate, which is, the African Growth and Development Dialogues, where we're really talking about, the practices that African leaders need to implement in order to make Africa, a better place, which is our African vision. And then we have, we're going to have this, Africa Investment, and Business Forum, where, businesses from all over Africa with investors, um, are able to provide resources, especially for young business owners with great ideas to transform Africa. Um, that's in a nutshell. That's what we've been able to, achieve.
Great, great. It's a lot. It's a lot. And you're doing it from two different countries. It's a lot. So, what were some of your struggles? What are some of the struggles that you face as a female entrepreneur in Cameroon?
The good news is that in Cameroon, the president, I would say, has really put women in such a good place. The gender gap is not so much, poignant. Whether you're a woman or not, in Cameroon, you can excel if you have the right, mindset, the right techniques, and all of that. That's what I've noticed. But then, what happens is that, because so many Cameroonian women are still, laid back,
Yeah.
do not still have that courage to become
Yeah.
whatever they can become. It
Mm.
makes it in such a way that when a woman is doing some really big things, I would call it so, then it becomes like she's too much, or she's all over the place,
Yeah.
you know. And, it sometimes it wants to make you put brakes, and
Yes.
wants to limit your potential, because you're like, hey, it looks like you're the only one doing whatever, you're doing, and sometimes you want to limit your potential, and,
Right. To fit in.
to, yeah, to fit in, exactly. But then a while ago, I was like, we must not succumb all the time to societal pressures. And I said to myself, I have a few women colleague, who have the same, mindset as myself. And I said to myself, look, what matters is the message that you want to pass across. What matters is the mission that you have and that you want to see accomplished. And we really have to forget about you being all over the place, and you just have to be all over the place and accomplish that mission. Um, it's okay. It's all right. The
Yeah.
challenges were when I started, but then, like I said, it's a journey and it's a school at the same time. You learn as you grow, and once you learn, you're able to practice what you've learned, and then you just have to put your feet on the good. You put your good feet forward, and then it's okay.
Yeah. I really want to take this opportunity to congratulate the women in Cameroon who show up. In Cameroon, we live in clans.
Yeah.
You have families, you have
Yes.
political
True.
groups, and and jangis and all this stuff. Yet we want to improve. Even in families, when one of them, they encourage you to become something. When you've become that thing, when you become something, you come with different character, with different way of thinking. You no longer fit in that clan. And this is really holding people back. It's holding women back because they still want to maintain that clan because it's a support system. It's working on its own. But there is still this aspiration, as we said from the very beginning, there is this purpose that you have burning inside of you, and you want to do more.
Yes.
So you try to get out of
Yes.
the clan. But once you try to step out of that clan to become more, you now become the enemy of the clan. You're rejected, you are thrown away. From one day to the next, you find yourself on the street with your children. We don't want to see you because you think you've become, you think, and this is such a problem, which makes many women do not even dare to venture because they don't want to lose their family, they don't want to lose their friends, they don't want to be missed out in that group that they used to be, the Njangi group, and it's such a pity. But this goes back again to the mindset and to poverty because you have struggled to come out of there with the help of others, and now you're struggling to be where you are, but also struggling to find your place back home, which you no longer belong. I just want to take this opportunity to encourage women that I am one of you. There are some clans which I'm familiar or whatever that I no longer belong to, that I was thrown out of it. And let me tell you something. Look at me in the eye, straight in the eye. I want to tell you, I am still happy. And I'm even happier because they're holding you back. You cannot let yourself to be held back. You will kill yourself. When you have to grow, you have to grow. If you don't belong to that clan anymore, you will meet new people with different thinking that will help you to
Exactly.
grow.
Exactly.
I know
Exactly.
it's hard. Believe me, when people ask me, "Oh, you're no longer in contact with this person. How is it possible?" How?
Exactly.
And I just tell people it's possible because it has helped me grow faster and I feel better. I am not preaching that you quit your family. I am not preaching that you quit your clan, but you have one life. If this growth is making them to throw you
Thank
out,
you so much.
if this growth is helping them
Thank you
make you
so
go
much.
out,
Yeah.
go out. You no longer belong there.
Thank you so much for voicing this out. This is really a pertinent point that has to be. This is a platform for women,
Yeah.
African women economic and entrepreneurship forum, and it's a really good place. In addition to the fact that I am also the founder of the Leading and Enterprising Women of Africa, and I created a group in Cameroon because I wanted to educate Cameroonians. I created this Boss Ladies Club, and I wanted to educate Cameroonian women just to let them know that, look, have a vision for your life and follow up with it. no
Yeah.
matter what barrier that comes your way. Growth should not be limited to whatever. Growth should not be dependent on whatever. If you're a woman and you want well-being for your life, the first thing is you need financial independence. And if you want financial independence, you must grow. Even if you're just a lady selling along the street, at one point you must grow. You can't keep selling oranges, buying a bag of oranges and selling every day. Why would you keep selling oranges, a bag of oranges under the sun every day, when you know there are more possibilities that can be explored, but you refuse to explore those possibilities just because of some norms or some, I don't know. And so it's very important that, thank God you're using this forum to address this issue. It's very important that women know that growth is not only for a certain kind of people, growth is for every human being. And every human being that doesn't grow, I would say, dies somehow.
Yeah.
And you can't, because you can't keep staying in one position, one place all the time. Even if you have a I don't know how what I can say, a restaurant, you always want to expand. You
Yeah.
always want to, get to some more markets. You always, and then we need to teach, we really need to educate women, Cameroonian women, African women, on this aspect, because few of women know this, and few women have decided to live like this just because they are constrained by some certain laws or some certain rules that I don't know. And so it makes it in such a way that that's why the clans exist. Because at one point, when you outgrow your clan, you're, like you just say, you're no longer welcome in the clan.
You are
And
thrown
then you
out.
find,
Your clothes are thrown out on the street, and they call you prostitute. They call you
and
names.
and,
They
and then
call
they
you
start
all names,
they
and
start
tell you how to treat.
saying unnecessary things, not knowing that you are just driven by your own vision, and you want to get to somewhere, at the top, and if every woman was had this value of growth, then there'll be a very little misunderstandings or very little complaints about women here and there and clans and all of that.
This is that women don't do it because there is a risk of, you know, the impact that it will have on them. You have a possibility of, maybe if it doesn't work out, you travel to Ghana and you come back. There's a place you can breathe. There is a community that you have already made. If I would have listened to people and all the comments and all the, who do you think you are? You are doing this to show off. You think you've become rich. If I would have listened to all those comments, there would not be an awif. But because I strongly believe that I'm suffering from this, from the impact of not belonging to that clan anymore, I strongly believe I should stay with awif, no matter how much it costs me. It takes a hell lot of energy. It takes a hell lot of courage to do this. And it's like you're restarting your life all over again. So, all those women who do not have the courage to do it, I hear you, I see you, I was one of you. But if you decide to stay in that clan, in God's name, educate your daughters differently.
Yeah.
They don't have to stay in the clan. They don't have to. Because that's where growth lies. That's the growth that we all need for Cameroon. Be it business wise or personal wise, we are stagnating in that country. And it's such a shame with the values that we have, just for the sake of.
So you can imagine us needing so much change and so much development in this country.
Yes,
Then you want to ask yourself, who are the stakeholders?
yes.
Who are those who are actually ready to get to the field to create this change? Because it shouldn't just be about us sitting back to complain.
No.
If everybody sat back to complain and nobody did what was supposed to be done, then we'll keep wallowing in the same misery for
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
So I think this should also be a call for
Yeah.
women.
Yes.
Since we are on this platform, this will be a call for women to say, look, you have the right to change the status quo. You have the right to add your voice to, whatever so cause that is happening there. You have the right to come out to say, look, this is the contribution that I
Yeah.
can make for there to be a better country, or for us to have a better country, be it in terms of our cultural values, be in terms of our economy, be in terms of our politics, in terms of our society and the civil society and all what's happening. Everybody has a role to play. And so if we do not take action, like individually, to play these roles, we are always going to keep complaining and keep staying still at the same
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. 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 So let's do this. Let's have a panel of this platform can take maximum of 6 women.
Okay.
Please bring me 4 more women. Let's start this discussion of growth
Yeah.
and contribution.
Yes. Yes.
Let's be those queens raising princesses. I'm counting on you to bring, I will set up everything that we need
Okay.
to be online, but let's start this conversation. It's not about
Yeah, it's
shouting
very
or
important.
it's not about shouting or being aggressive of what you should or not what you. Let's go back to the base to basics, how we were brought up, how we've grown, where we stand in this world. We
Yeah.
cannot be talking about cultural things and all this whatever. I let culture belongs where it belongs. But in the midst of that culture, we're also using mobile phone. So something has happened somewhere. How can we use digitalization, mobile phones? How can we use the current situation to uplevel our lives and stop complaining? Let's have a panel of 4 women. I think she's frozen. Can you hear me? She's frozen. I will take the time while she comes on back again live just to share with you who this amazing lady from Cameroon is. Let me just go share her page again while she comes on live. Let's go back. So I think Ruth is frozen. Let's give her a few minutes to come back, join us. And you just saw on the screen who Avicom group is, and we'll give her a few minutes to be. Yes, Awifians, we are live still. I've just shown you who Avicom is all about. And Ruth was frozen, but she's coming right back. So please, yes, there she is. Yay.
That's one of the
Whoa, you were
problems we're
frozen.
having.
Exactly, exactly. But you're back. You're
Yeah.
back. So let's continue. In Cameroon, there's always an interconnection between culture and dreams. What do you feel? What do you fear the most as you grow your business? We've touched a little bit on those points, but what as you grow your business, what do you fear the most?
Yes. What I fear, I can't fear my dreams because that's me. That's what maybe I was called to do. That's why I was born. That's the mission of my life. Is my dreams are all centered around those. But I fear in Cameroon, I fear the culture. Why the culture? Why? Because we've talked about this earlier on in our conversation, and it's really something that has to be worked on, which is mind shift, the mindset shift in this country, and the fact that mediocrity is at its peak.
Yep. Yep. Stay poor.
And the fact that when you bring something innovative and you bring something new and you bring something worthwhile, people look at you like you were strange.
They think you're a witch. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And they're asking themselves, where are you going to? Where do you think you're going to with all of that? The fact that we cannot embrace change in this country. I'm talking about this and I'm thinking about so many organizations that have closed,
Yep.
that were forced, obliged, like Jumia, that were
Yep.
obliged to shut their doors in this country just because of some culture of people who are not ready,
Yeah.
to
Oh,
take their
oh,
own lives to a certain level. And that's why there's a lot of education to be done when it comes to that. So I fear culture. I can't fear my trips. I fear the culture of this place. And I think that, the next generation, which is a generation I'm very proud of because I have met some overzealous young people who already are hungry to be leaders in this country and to to create that effect. And I believe so much in the young generation. But then, before we reach this generation, what are what are the things that are going to happen? So, Lillian, there's so much work to do in this country when it comes to, this cultural shift.
yeah.
There's
Yeah.
so much
Yeah.
work.
Yeah. I agree completely. And that part of it, that chunk of it, is what that country, apart from leadership, we agree, leadership and everything. But if there is a shift in culture, there will be a shift in the entire country. Then
Yeah.
leadership will change. So, yeah. Um, what assets do Cameroonian entrepreneurs have to share with the world?
Oh, yeah. Cameroon is, if we did things right,
Yeah.
if the management or the managerial structures in this country were well, orchestrated, then this country would be one of the richest
Yeah.
in terms of, natural resources, in terms of human resources, in terms of, you know, global output. This country will be one of the richest because we have so much when it comes to
Yeah.
human potential. Already there is. When it
Yes.
comes to natural resources, we have a lot. When it
Yes.
comes to, look at wildlife, look at our wildlife, look at our, what have you, or what don't we have in Cameroon? I mean,
Exactly.
you go to some other countries, but you're always forced to come back because there's some things that are actually here that you don't find, that you'll find nowhere else. We actually
Yes.
have those. We actually have those. And we keep saying that there's just one thing: the management system of the country. That's just the thing that is limiting us. That's just the thing that is letting us is letting us be short, to ourselves, and really not allowing us to be projected, on a global scene.
Okay, but there is goodness in all of this. There is hope and everything. What asset as a Cameroonian entrepreneur can we share with the world? What asset do we have that we can share with others? Because the world is waiting for something that we have. We do have it. We see it.
Yeah, yeah. There are a lot of, doing business here really exposed me to a lot of talent.
Yeah.
There's so much talent in Cameroon.
Yeah.
That's why there's also frustration, because when you have all this talent, people, they come up with all these ideas, they come up with all these innovative entities, innovative businesses, innovative products, and all of that, and then they can't, really bring it out, or they can't really develop it, just because of some barriers that happen.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not, the economy is not flexible enough. And this brings us to the next question. When we look at Nigeria, Rwanda, Kenya, Cote d'Ivoire, we start to understand that entrepreneurship in Cameroon is still at its infancy stage. How do we level up? We have the talent, we have the younger generation, and they are coming up. That's what we have to share with the world. But now, when we start comparing all these different countries, we think, okay, we are still at the very beginning of it all. How do we level up?
We're working on that, Lillian. We are working together with other the business development companies in this country. There are very few, I would say that, and there's need for funding if you want entrepreneurship to get developed in Cameroon, or to get to a level. For in Ghana, for example, the Ghanaian president, made access gave access made it possible for Ghanaian entrepreneurs to get access to funding easily. You just need to have a viable product or a viable project, and then your company is funded, especially when it comes to agriculture and other sectors like oil and gas, technology.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The funding, access to funding is very, very fluid, which is very, very different. That's the difference in Cameroon.
Yeah.
Cameroonians or Cameroonian entrepreneurs must fight for their own growth.
Let me tell you something. Cameroon has always been requesting for funding all the time. If yesterday, when I checked the news about information, I think Switzerland gave 50 million. I cannot remember what they fee to Cameroon so that the public service, the nurses, and they can get paid. Okay. Now, over and over, Cameroon has received funding. That country is overspending. Take it in your family. Give them money. We are overspending. I think what the problem is here is, if we want to level up, we have to collaborate with other countries to share our knowledge and to gain knowledge. Because the danger again is that when you provide fund to a country which is already overfunded and overspending, we're going nowhere. But when we start collaborating with others and know that in Nigeria, you give them 50 naira, they make 150 out of it, and don't think of necessarily drinking and eating, then you start thinking twice. Cameroon has enough funds. The world is giving a lot of money to Cameroon. You send money to your family, we're talking of thousands. And the next week, the money is gone. We are overspending in that country. And my advice to level up is to collaborate, so we mimic other countries, how they spend, how they invest, and how they develop.
Yeah, yeah. It all goes back to what I was saying, what I said earlier on about management.
Yeah.
It goes mostly about vision. If you have a leadership that has not got vision for, for its country and its citizens, and the sectors that are like engines for growth, then it'll be tough.
But I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful because there are people like you.
Yeah, we remain very hopeful, Lilian. We
I'm
remain very
hopeful.
hopeful. Trust me, in this country, you're going to find people who are fighting day in and day out on their personal, resources
Yeah.
to make things better for their community, for their communities at least. One thing that I retained when I was interviewing, because I have Cameroon Achievers magazine that I run here, and I was interviewing Cardinal Tumi, and he said something very pertinent. He said that if every Cameroonian, we're complaining, yes, things are very tough, and we're somehow disappointed with our leaders, but then we can't just keep complaining all the time because it weighs us out as well. It
Yeah.
wears us out as well. So what can we do? Like, if every Cameroonian could, you know, change his environment, the environment you find yourself in, I mean, your community, if you could do a project that is going to make the lives of those in your community better, just go for it. Go for it, because it is true that the society in this place is divided into classes.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
if you are able to support, those who are less privileged, then I think we owe it to our fellow Cameroonians to create that impact.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. There is hope. There is hope, but we must talk about it. Of what ways
Yeah,
it
if
will
we, if we don't talk about it, talking about it is raising that awareness, and it's putting a mark saying that, look, this is a problem, there's a problem that has to be addressed, and
exactly.
we need to talk about the solutions. And if we keep talking about it, then it gets to someone's ears, and then it's a good thing, because then we hope that actions are taken to remedy the situation.
Yeah. With it has to start. That conversation has to start, and now it's up. It's on the table. Good thing
Yeah,
happened.
yeah.
It will take as long as it requires, but we have started that conversation, and we, as we said, we need four women here to discuss about this. Now, COVID-19 is here for everybody. We're all equal. Europeans, Africans, Chinese, all equal.
Yeah.
Lockdown. However, there are many people making opportunities of this COVID-19 because they are being visible. How can African women use this window of opportunity that comes with COVID-19 to work towards their financial freedom?
Thank you. This is a great question. I like this question so much because it really touches on the fact that, or the cause that I'm fighting for,
Yeah.
which is the growth of African women, the emancipation of African women, financial independence for African women, which in turn, which consequentially provides well-being, because the number of African women who suffer and who are not at their good feet is deplorable.
Yeah.
A lot of African women die because of just basic things they could, and not knowing that they could just come out from it with little education.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the good thing is that when we have platforms like this, the more women we can talk to, the better. Um, COVID-19 has come, and it came as a blow, and the whole world is suffering from it. Why? Because everywhere is shut down. We're in a lockdown situation. We are supposed to practice social distancing for the disease, or for the virus not to spread and contaminate our neighbors and all of that. And so businesses are have it has had a toll on businesses, because um, people are not focused on wanting to acquire things that don't provide security or good health anymore.
Yeah.
People are more focused on their survival than on
Yeah.
other things that have become trivial. Now, we won't say that at a period like this, we still need to survive. We still need to survive. And in every problem, there's an opportunity. And one of the opportunities, or one of the good things that COVID has come with, is the fact that from the remote places that we find ourselves, we can be projected to the world. And it has created global conversations.
Yep.
A lot of people have met people that they wouldn't have met if things were normal, across borders, just through the internet. And now we want to talk about the importance of the internet, the importance of smart devices and all of that. And we want to talk about, the importance now of education for women, education in digital practices. If this was a far-fetched, um, if this was a far-fetched, how would I call it, idea, or ideology or whatever,
Yeah.
then today it shouldn't be anymore.
No. In fact, that's
It
our
is
window of opportunity,
exactly, because this is what we're talking about earlier on. We need now to make a shift, and we need to embrace global trends if we want to survive.
Yeah.
We need to start, educating ourselves on what is essential, what has to make our business grow, and that is, we need digitalization. And through this, we can be able to, do business globally, even, which is even a greater thing. Imagine a woman who sells beddings, for example. If you're doing traditional beddings and you're able to reach an international market because you've maybe positioned or you've placed your product on an international business platform, then you're good to go. And I think that you depending now, your price you can even increase your price. There's a lot of advantages that we need to really pray on, and need to seize this opportunity to make that shift consciously.
Many Cameroonian women have lots of services, but many of them will not profit from this window of opportunity because of the way we do business in Cameroon. Since all of the demand is all about food, drink, and those basic things that we discussed about, it limits the number of people that will benefit from this opportunity. However, those who have opportunity, who have services that they provide to others, I haven't seen many of them online being visible talking about their businesses. But when I go to Kenya, when I talk with Kenyan people, they are visible. Nigerians are visible. Ivory Coast, they are visible. But Cameroon, we use our telephone to gossip. How can we really tell people in this country? I mean, what has this COVID-19 taught Cameroonian entrepreneurs?
What you're saying is, Lillian, we need the one thing that we keep talking about, and that keeps coming up in every debate that has to do with Cameroon, is the education.
Yeah.
It's education, it's leadership, and it's cultural shift. Those are the 3 points that we'll keep talking about when we're talking about growth and development in Cameroon. If we do not have the right education, for example, in Cameroonian businesses, those who were already on the train, the digital train, they don't have any problem. On the contrary, they are really capitalizing on this situation to make their businesses really shout out about their businesses and bring it back to life. And they're advertising on social media, they're doing their digital advertisement, and then they're offering you these products and these services that you need. in order to remain in business. But for the majority who were not even acquainted to, you know, who did and why, because we have sorry to say, we have a system where we are so contented about the traditional way of doing things, and we are surprised. Most businesses are surprised at this
Yeah,
time,
yeah,
and
yeah,
they
yeah.
will want to start, learning. It's now they are starting. They'll start learning about, internet and all of that, online systems and all of that. So it's just about the same things that we're talking.
So,
Education,
so,
education.
so Cameroon is not ready yet. So what we are saying right now is that we're not educated enough, so we are not ready for this digitalization that's going to hit us.
But we have no choice. The thing is, we have no choice, because if we are supposed to stay in business, and if we are supposed to say we are a nation in the world, then we must, align our policies, align our values to those that, embrace whatever is happening out there. So we have no choice.
We have no choice. There is no way
Yes.
out. There is no way out. We've got to be digitalized. And I
and
stand
that's
with
and
them.
that's yeah, and that's why companies like, like Avicom Group,
Yeah.
we offer these solutions. we
Yes.
we try to help. We are offering services that try to, right now, the helping companies to do this digital shift, and we are having all these conversations about digitization, so that everybody gets aware and say, hey, wake up, this is the new thing that's happening now, and you must be part of it if you want to be sustainable and if you want to stay in business.
And this brings us to a new idea called Cameroonian Business Women Go Live. I just wrote it down now, just now. It wasn't planned, just came up. So you are the queen of that. You are going to head it. I will set this platform, Cameroonian Women Business Go Live. I will set up everything
Yes,
to see them live.
very interesting idea.
Cameroonian Business Women, it just came up now. Go live right here on Awif. You cannot afford not to be on to be
You
visible.
can't.
You
You just
cannot.
cannot. You
You
just
cannot.
cannot. You just can't get missing like that, because,
Yeah.
of a global crisis. Because we must even really, really prepare ourselves, because we don't know whether this is going to be the last crisis. Something might come up very soon or later, and we must be ready. We must always be ready. COVID-19 has taught us that, look, you need to get to be ready at all time for anything.
And it also tells us that our business strategies are not working. They are not working. You cannot just think of your clan or your local business, your town, and think out of the box. There are other people who need your services. You need to collaborate. We are not collaborating enough because we are greedy. We want to keep everything to ourselves. We want to keep that information to ourselves. And when you open your mouth to say this, who do you want to think? Who do you think you are? Did we ask you? We ask you something. Then you get beaten from left and right, jump from one corner to the other, thrown out the next day. This is over. Now the truth will prevail. It's out there in the public. You need to go live. You need to be visible. You need to be digital. If not, there is no business for you. And you have only yourself to blame. I offer this platform. I offer my time, my energy, and everything that you need. Go live. Cameroonian women, business women, go live. If you want to go live for something else, which you are already doing, which we see already out here, not to be proud of what we see here, but when it comes to business, there are not enough Cameroonian women. Nigeria is taking the lead, and I'm very proud of that. Ivory Coast, Rwanda, Kenya, South
I think
Africa.
we'll get there, Lillian. Um, I think we're going to get there. It's a process, and we can't. It's obvious that things are not going on well here, but we believe that something is going to happen. We believe
Yeah,
that there's going to be a shift eventually.
yeah, yeah. I'm just putting your contact details in the comment box so people can contact you directly. You just have to click on the link. Voila, there you go. So that they can contact you directly if they are looking for visibility tips or how
Exactly.
to take their make their business
Digital.
online. However, you also know that you can contact us. And as I have said, I'm offering my time, offering this platform. I will set up everything for Cameroonian business women to go live.
Right.
Don't sit there and think someone is coming to save you. China is closed. By the way, there are so many things you do. I know many of you, you do tissage at home. Go live to show people how you do your tissage. Do not think the solution, you already have it. You already have it. You don't just know.
So many platforms, so many platforms where you can showcase whatever you got.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So please, let's use this time to be visible. Think of value first before you think of the money, because your
Yeah.
immediate needs are
Exactly.
not, let's think out of the box. It was such a pleasure spending 1 hour, 30 minutes with you. Can you imagine?
We did not see the time going.
And I could keep on talking for ages. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for the value that you provide to that continent. Do not stop this great work. I'm behind
Thank
you.
you so much.
If you
Thank you
need
so
me, if you need me, let me know. I'm here to support you.
Thank you so much for the support.
Bring
Thank you
all
so
those women here. Let's talk about what's holding us back. Let's talk about how we want to raise our princesses. Let's go live. Let's be visible and talk some sense. Let's be digitalized, because that's the future. And
yes.
Cameroon has all what it takes.
It
That
takes.
beloved country of mine, rejected or accepted, it's my country. I was born there. It has all what it takes. But we are not showcasing the best of Cameroon. This is the time. This is the time. Ruth, what's your hidden truth, or what's your hidden wish for Cameroon?
It's not hidden. I don't think it's hidden because I don't think it's hidden because I say it out on my platforms on interviews that I grant to media houses and all of that. Whatever I'm doing and whatever I talk about is change. I am preaching change. We need change in this country, and we are working to make that change happen. And
Yeah,
change is going to be done, or it's going to be done by young people.
yeah,
Change is going to be done by women. And so we need to empower them, empower the women, empower the youth, and let them have these, resources that they need so that they can really, because we can't keep talking, but we need to put things into practice. We need to create things, or we need to create structures that is going to create this or make this change happen. And we need people, to human resources to be able to make this happen. So that's my agenda. That's my plan for Cameroon, is for us to change and to make this shift from this underdeveloped um, kind of system to a system where every Cameroonian lives how would I say, a good life, and we quit, we leave this poverty mentality and
yeah,
poverty life, and because with all this poverty we can't even think straight for ourselves.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So Cameroonians need a better life. Cameroonians need better education. Cameroonians need um, better governmental system. Our economy needs to be revamped, and we must be able to stand when other countries are being called. The images that you said that are out there, it has to change. We need a new narrative for this country, and that's just what we should be working. Every Cameroonian should be working for.
Yeah. As I said, I've traveled quite a bit. And whenever you meet a Cameroonian, they are educated people. We are lucky,
Yeah.
and just having this French and English is such a value. You just need to polish that up and they're ready to go. So I'm
Yeah.
very proud of that. What I blame Cameroon, or I'm not proud of, and I think it's a problem that's holding us back, is one, the culture, that old system thingy, which was implemented when the Europeans colonized us. We had to have a mechanism to survive. Then we used our culture. There are good things in both ways. We can still continue what serves us now. The second thing is the mindset. There's a huge difference between what we dream of and what we are really doing to obtain what we dream of. It's time for us Cameroonians to really shut up, and listen. I learned this lesson the hard way. We talk too much and we implement
Little.
too
Yeah.
little because we
Yeah.
talk, we talk. I know, I am. This boastful emptiness. It's time we shut up. Look at Ghanaians. I do not say,
I'm
I
putting,
mean, I like
I'm
talking. I like
putting the work.
you
I'm
know,
actually putting the work.
exactly,
Mhm.
exactly. If we
Yeah.
could do half of the work as much as we talk, then we are good. We're good.
Yeah.
So let's really start to implement. Let's implement because we have the knowledge, we have the natural resources, we have the funds. We are spending too much in Cameroon. We are spending too much in Cameroon. I understand there's deflation of currency, but we're spending too much. And we're spending too much on the wrong things. We're not educating ourselves enough. We're not giving ourselves chances enough. We just want to eat, sit, and be happy in that moment. We need to take more risk. If we talk to all the Cameroonians that have been out of Cameroon, they will say exactly the same thing. We're not risking it enough. I'm not saying go take a boat to go to another country, but within the country itself, we are not risking it enough, and the clan is an issue. So I offer myself, you and I, to uplift a little bit, a small proportion of the population that's ready
That
for
we.
this
Yeah.
platform. So
Yeah.
let's give this a go.
Yeah.
And my secret dream is that we will be talking on an equal level to countries like Ivory Coast, Nigeria, Rwanda, South Africa, because we have what it takes. We do have
We'll
it.
get there. I believe that we'll get there. I believe that there's a new generation of Cameroonians who have a vision for a better Cameroon. Why? Because the world is a global village now, and we see
Yeah.
you don't need to travel to South Africa or to Ghana or to Ivory Coast to see what's going on in Ivory Coast or to see the things that are happening there. They come and meet you where you are. As you scroll through your timeline on Facebook, you see the development and the evolution that is going on in other places. And I think that it's provoking to young people as well. That's why many young people sometimes they revolt because they believe that we should have been somewhere at a level we should have had a competitive edge with some of these countries, and in consequently we are working. Young people are working, and I believe that there's a time that's coming when the narrative really is going to change.
Yeah, yeah. I believe truly that there is something going to happen. There's going to be a massive change. But yeah, let's start this conversation. And I thank you so much for your time. I value the work you do. As I said, I will repeat, I am here for you. Let me know how I can support. Bring up those women. Cameroon, this is your time. This is your time. There are so many good products out there. You should be showcasing these products to the world. You have this support. I am not the only Cameroonian supporting Cameroonians. There are many. I will bring them here if you don't believe me. But you've got to change your mindset. So, Ruth,
Yeah.
thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure spending 1 hour, 39 minutes with you. And we are going to have a second round of this conversation so we can uplift those who are ready.
Thank you so much for having me, Lillian. Thank you so much.
You're
And
welcome.
courage with what you're doing. Keep it up. Keep encouraging women to be their best selves. And, you know, congratulations, courage, and, you know, you're doing a great job. Keep it up. Thank you. Thank
Thank
you for
you.
having me. It was
You're
an
welcome.
honor.
Thank you.
Thank,
Let's do this again. Thank you very much. Have a great Sunday.
thank you so much. Bye.
Okay. Bye.